February 5th, 2020. I'm Yael Avi, and these are the Cryptosphere's top stories for today. Tesla's market cap has skyrocketed, surpassing that of Bitcoin. But is it all a bubble? Consensys, Ethereum's venture studio, is shifting focus and downsizing as a result, cutting 14% of its workforce. And the Democratic primary in Iowa is a colossal mess. Is blockchain the future answer for a struggling democratic process? We in the Cryptosphere often like to compare Bitcoin and other currencies to traditional stocks to help put things in perspective. But the recent meteoric rise in the price of Tesla stocks has people drawing comparisons the other direction. This Wall Street Journal headline, for example, reading, "Tesla's epic rally echoes past oil Bitcoin bubbles." Senior correspondent Asha Westrup Evans is with me in studio. Is Tesla the new Bitcoin?
Well, yeah, El, it certainly seems to be playing out that way in the charts. If we look at the year-to-date so far, we can see Tesla's explosionary boom. We can see in those charts there. It has absolutely skyrocketed over the course of just this year, backed by an amazing earnings report that came out on the 29th of this month. Now, if we're to overlay Bitcoin into all of this, we can take a look and see comparatively, Bitcoin is flatlining. What is this? Unimpressive, Yael. I certainly don't care. But a 30% bump, nothing compared to the 110% growth we've seen in Tesla just on the year to date. And remembering this is February 5th.
It's February 5th, and I know I'm asking a question that, I don't expect you to answer, as smart as you are. What the hell's driving this?
Look, again, you're right. We don't have exactly a clear singular answer, but there are a few factors we can point to. One, obviously, is that great earnings report that came out for Q4 2019, that came out on the 29th. Looked spectacular. That certainly should have driven growth, but this level of growth. The thing is with Tesla is it's what's known in general market parlance as an emotion stock. It is a stock that is tied to people's emotions, whether it be the feelings people have for its founder, Elon Musk, whether it be the idea of the renewable sector, the strength of electric cars, these sort of things. It's not traded purely on sort of the cold brass tacks of the situation, the fundamentals, as it were. People get emotional. People get drawn into wanting to buy it.
Sounds like rich people were getting emotional.
Certainly, and there's certainly some money. And there is a FOMO effect. I mean, the fact of the matter is that it has been, since it going public in 2015, it has traded at a relatively consistent price, having bumps and dips, but all in and around that $200 mark, around where it originally launched in its IPO. And to have this sudden skyrocketing is sort of indicative of the fact that, people are starting to finally say, maybe this is chronically undervalued in this stock and actually deserves to be considerably worth more, and that seems to be playing out.
Considerably worth more, but that headline specifies, is this a bubble? Because if you're sitting on the sideline, it feels a little, and you're, dare we compare this to ICO's Bitcoin Slash 2017?
Right, I think we can, Yael. I mean, the fact of the matter is the stock should not rise this quickly on the fundamentals, underpinning it. Tesla does not have the sort of profitability that should suddenly make it change. As strong as its fourth quarter 2019 earnings were, they were not warranting a doubling of value, a doubling of market cap in this company. And many out there are predicting a pullback, but I must say, for the moment, it's still climbing.
For the moment, it's climbing. Asha Westrup Evans, thank you for this report. Blockchain powerhouse Consensys just announced a strategic transformation to its business model and structure that in essence spells a 14% cut to personnel. That's a lot. Oran Spitzer's report has the details on what's beginning to look like a worrying trend.
New York-based Consensys has laid off around 14% of its workforce in an effort to restructure its business. According to the announcement, Consensys will separate its software development operations from its venture activities. The company further explained that the shift would allow it to be better aligned with the needs of a focused software development company. Reportedly, the job losses would fall in roles across human resources, finance, and marketing, with product teams unaffected. However, we still don't know how many job losses this entails. In December 2018, Consensys cut around 13% of its workforce, which then totaled over 1,000 job losses. And just 2 months ago, it was reported that the company was shutting down operations in India and the Philippines. To this, Consensys told BLOCKTV that the roles have been made redundant as part of a year-end reevaluation, and that a total of 11 roles were eliminated in India and the Philippines due to a realignment of the sales and services team in those countries. This move comes as crypto and blockchain companies globally search for an easily adoptable use case to the hype technology. Oran Spitzer for BLOCKTV.
Bitcoin ONSV recently underwent a hard fork that is supposed to bring it closer to the original Bitcoin protocol. And despite the significance of the so-called Genesis fork, so far, a substantial number of miners failed to upgrade, splitting the chain in two. BLOCKTV's Yona Hochhauser is with us in studio to help break down the move. What happened and how did it impact the price?
Right, yeah. So the Genesis update happened at block number 620,538, and the crowd went mild. A fourth of the nodes didn't upgrade as of reporting, but they will follow, and that was not an intentional thing. Those are just nodes that just forgot or didn't hear or whatever, haven't had the time to properly upgrade. Like you mentioned, there was a so-called splitting of the chain, but that also, once again, was minor. There was only one block mined on the old chain, either because miners wanted to do a sort of protest or simply those miners just didn't get the memo, didn't change the software. That chain has already died out. So the chain is continuing as could be. The fact of the matter is that this was pretty minor. The only changes in the Genesis hard fork was they took away with block size limits. Now that is, once again, more symbolic because the current block size limit is so ridiculously large, it's never reached by miners. In addition to that, another change, the number of owners for multi-sig wallets has also, the limit has been denied. Now it's unlimited, the number of owners, as well as the number of transactions are also, the limit is released. So this is kind of an unchaining of a network, but the fact of the matter is that so far, this network hasn't come close to reaching its limit. So they've taken off the limits, and this is more of a next step, and that idea was echoed by BSV's head, proponent Craig Wright when he said had this to say about the upgrade when we spoke to him last week.
Thank you.
I see it as a good first step. So I started working back in 2013 on what we called iDaemon. And iDaemon was a distributed microservices architecture node running across multiple machines and so that will then lead to Terranode now that we've got everything locked down and we can really scale. And when we start getting into millions and more transactions a second, then I'll be happy.
Mega auction platform eBay may be up for sale. Intercontinental Exchange Inc., better known as ICE, has made a takeover offer for eBay. Now, according to reporting by the Wall Street Journal, the proposed deal could value the online consumer-to-consumer platform at more than $30 billion. According to the publication's sources, ICE, who have approached eBay in the past, are going for it again. That said, the companies are not currently in any formal talks, but should there be a deal, given eBay's market value, which currently stands at $28 billion, it would be the deal of the century, if we may use a Trump term. Following the report by the Wall Street Journal, ICE was forced to issue a statement confirming its interest in the company, stating, "Over ICE's 20-year history, the company's track record of creating shareholder value, both through organic growth and acquisitions, speaks for itself. ICE does look to explore potential opportunities that it expects will deliver enhanced shareholder value and will continue to do so in the future." eBay is yet to utter a word. And now to the Iowa Democratic primary mess, which you couldn't have missed in the news in the last 48 hours. Given a delay in results blamed by the DNC on faulty application coding, the first race of the primary season could not be called. At the time of this taping, with 73% of the votes now manually verified, Pete Buttigieg seems to be in the lead. But the main issue of this debacle is the new use of a smartphone application for reporting the results, which we all know didn't go so well, and that's putting it mildly. It begs the question, could the use of blockchain in future voting prevent mishaps as such? We pose the question to our esteemed reporters, Asha Westrup-Evans, who believes blockchain is not the solution, and Yona Hochhauser, who begs to differ. Yona, I'm going to start with you, because you think blockchain is the solution. How so?
Yael, when it comes to elections, what are the things you want? You want a trustworthy system, even though there might not be trustworthy actors. You want transparency, and you want to make sure that it's immutable, so no one can change the results. That explains blockchain. It's quick, it's efficient, it's trustworthy, even in untrustworthy situations, and it's transparent so everyone can see the results and trust in the results. Need I say more?
A hard argument to dispel, but I have a feeling Asha might do so. Okay, you are against blockchain. Why?
Look, yeah, I think as it stands right now, blockchain voting systems are simply not viable, particularly not on the scale of the US sort of federal politics that we're talking about right now. Now, my colleague here mentioned trustworthy, an important point to note, because trustworthy is not just about the internal mechanisms of the system. It's not about just pulling it off adequately. It's also about having a system that is seen to be legitimate and reliable by the public at large. And the fact of the matter is, as it stands right now, blockchain technology is too new and too poorly understood by the general public to be considered trustworthy. Fundamentally, it is too complex to actually have the public be able to understand and engage with it. And if the public can't trust it, the public will not rely on it, and the public will not see its validity. Whereas the importance that can be done, for example, by having a paper trail, which is what we've seen in Iowa come in now, they have a verifiable paper trail to audit every element of the system that didn't work, means that that classic paper mechanism that everyone can see and hold with their hands still has an incredible importance in these hugely important elements that underpin our democracy.
Are you convinced?
No, it's interesting that he chose to use the same argument against blockchain, the same reason that my grandmother is afraid to use the interwebs, is because it's too complex, I don't understand it, I don't trust it. Just because people aren't educated enough on a new technology does not mean that the technology is not the best solution. The answer is, let's do blockchain, let's start it out on a small scale, let's educate the public to its advantages, and then once they actually get their hands on it, the truth will set you free.
The important point, though, is, Yona, your grandmother is voting, and she has to vote, and that is a key important part of the democratic process. Because if someone feels that they don't understand this new system, we can educate and employ it in the next 10 years, maybe in the next 20 years, however long it takes to get that education in play. But while your grandmother is still voting in the current system, if she doesn't trust the efficacy, the reliability, the fidelity of the system, because she doesn't understand how it works, then it fails to underpin the importance of the democratic process that cannot be left up to chance and cannot be left to doubt.
Two very strong arguments, but sadly, we're going to have to let your grandmother decide. Moving along. And it's time for a troll of the day. Here he is, Zachy Hennessy, with a report on an unfortunate, that's a mild understatement, Bitcoin headline that made it to press.
That's right, Yael. So it seems like all 5 of the people who are getting their news from Yahoo were surely surprised when they saw this headline. Now, according to Yahoo, Bitcoin plunged 56% yesterday, which is funny because it didn't do that. The article has since been removed from Yahoo's site, but commenters are having a field day, claiming that this is surely a case of AI journalism gone awry. Commenter Randomy1 summed it up best when they said, "You think today's world is dumb? Just wait till AI bots trade on AI news."
I tend to agree with him, and I'm completely terrified. Zachy, thank you for that report. Now, that was Around the Block for today. Thank you for watching. For more blockchain, tech, and cryptocurrency news, visit us at blocktv.com.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.